You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and what follows is a conversation between myself and young Jaycee. Young Jaycee is an emerging urban artist from Western Australia. He is definitely destined for wonderful things. Really hope you enjoy this conversation that you're about to listen to. Here we go. Yeah. So how were the East Coast performances?
We did a show in Melbourne. That was the only proper show we did, like at a venue. We did also a private show for a house party in Sydney, but the show in Melbourne was crazy. Like Billy Davies, I opened up for Billy Davies. He's like a Melbourne multi-instrumentalist, like singer, this, that, and it was crazy. It was like first time performing out of Perth, so it was really cool to see how people react to my music from not knowing me or hearing of me before. So it was reassuring.
Yeah,
it's doing something right.
It's always nervous anticipation, isn't it? When you go to somewhere new, you're effectively standing on your own 2 feet. You're speaking your own truth up there on stage. People don't know you, so you've no doubt got some friends in the audience, but it's not a hometown situation there. So you're really throwing caution to the wind, and you're just hoping that things go well. But from the sounds of things, they really have. And look, why wouldn't they? Based on the quality of the cuts that Nick sent through to me, mate, they're outstanding. I've had them on in the background. I've listened to them with headphones. You really should be commended for producing the music that you have here, and it's praise that doesn't come lightly either, because I typically don't listen to a lot of urban music. Yes, I love Tyler's work. I love a bit of Kanye from time to time, but urban music isn't something that gets a lot of airtime on my media player, mainly because I talk to artists from the worlds of hard rock and heavy metal. But it is something that I like to get into from time to time, and I found another artist in you, mate, that I can dive into. So there you go.
Oh, awesome! Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
you go, mate. You're right.
Yeah. Well, So, where were we?
I'm just saying it's wonderful crossover potential, and that's the way I want you to receive that comment. It's one thing to appeal to fans, so fans who already go out there and purchase Kendrick Lamar's and Drake's music. That's one thing to do that, and fantastic. I'm sure you already do that. But you have the potential to cross over, to go onto radio and pick up what I call the passive fans of music. So that the fans that probably listened to Powderfinger in the past, probably listened to Rihanna, that sort of thing, you have the potential to pick up that audience there. So you can actually take this, I think, as far as you really want to take it, and just depends on how well yourself and Nick and your production team, how much luck you have in a lot of ways too, mate, because we all know the music business is about luck. It's not just about hard work.
Yeah.
No. But how big do you want to take it, mate? Is this something that you want to take to North America?
Yeah, it's something I want to go global with it. And it's awesome that you say that, because that's what I have in mind when I do my when I make my music, because I do all the production myself. So everything is kind of my own creative design, and the fact that I do sing some stuff and then I come in with some rapping, and I also play instruments, so I add an element of that to some of my songs. So yeah, I do want to go global with music, with my art, and that's kind of the idea I have. So it's good that you hear that as well.
So I'll give you that's fantastic, and you've got to be confident about these things too, haven't you? Because say, for example, just giving you a scenario, Kendrick Lamar's management contacted you guys and said, "Look, we're really digging what young Jaycee's done here. Is he ready for an 8-week tour across Europe, for example?" If that were to, say, land in your lap tomorrow because of the quality and the strength of your tracks that I've seen, and also, it must be said, the quality of your YouTube videos, outstanding. Time to Go is an outstanding music video.
You.
One of the best videos that I've seen this year so far, actually, the HD component.
Awesome.
It just stands out. But my question, mate, is if Kendrick Lamar or even Tyler, the creator, somebody like that reached out to you and said, "Mate, I need you for 8 weeks across Europe," would you be ready to do it tomorrow, do you think? Or maybe not tomorrow, but within a week or two?
Definitely, absolutely. That'd be like a dream come true, in the sense that that's where I feel that's one of my that's my favorite thing. At least one of my favorite things in this music thing is performing. So that'd be absolutely amazing, performing to Kendrick Lamar's audience and alongside him or whatever the deal would be. But yeah, I'll definitely be ready for that. I like to think of myself as like a born entertainer. So yeah, that'd be awesome.
Something else that I've seen you do, because I've watched a fair few of the videos now, you play guitar, and you play guitar rather well. So is that something you're going to continue to incorporate into your sound?
Yeah, well, like I've been playing guitar for years now. Like when I was like 8, maybe, Mum got me a guitar for Christmas. So I've been in a few bands before I went solo, just playing guitar, not even singing or anything. So I've always kind of had a love for guitar, and like kind of a instrumental feel to songs, not just a like electronic sort of sound. So yeah, I'll always put in like if I have an album, there'll always be 1 or 2 songs, where it'd be like just a guitar and a drum, and it would just be real raw, stripped back. Just when I perform live as well, it's also good to bring out the guitar, adds another element to the show. So I always try and include something where I can do that with.
Yeah, it's a bit of John Legend action going on up there when I was looking at the performances of you with the guitar. So how does the audience respond to that? Because I take it that typically the audience that you're performing in front of is an urban music audience, and guitar isn't probably the first instrument that comes to mind when you're talking about the genre. So when you're up on stage, do you see people stop what they're doing and look at you, and then when you start playing, because you really are a very good guitarist, you've got a great sense of rhythm, a good cadence to you. Do you see different responses out there, and is it encouraging, that response that you get?
Yeah, well, that's kind of like well, it started off, I never used to bring my guitar to my like when I had a show, because like you said, it's not really something in urban music. And then like my dad was hassling me, and a few of the boys were like, "You got to bring the guitar, you got to bring the guitar." And the first time I brought the guitar and brought the guitar out on the show, the crowd went nuts, because it's just like unheard of, rapping to, and like my style is kind of like a Jimi Hendrixy kind of.
It is,
yeah. So it's an eye turner, head turner, and people really like it, and I think it makes me stand out from all the other guys I play with, and it's kind of got me through the next level with my performance, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it gives you an advantage. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. And please don't ever listen to anybody who tells you to put it away, because there isn't enough of it out there in as we say, urban music and hip hop. And the guitar is such a versatile instrument that it can be incorporated into everything from classical to of course heavy metal to urban music, the whole thing. Urban music, the whole thing. So have you thought about releasing a track that was, say, focused on your wonderful guitar playing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do so I released my track as full studio arrangement, then I'll go ahead and do an unplugged version of it. Mm-hmm. I've got an unplugged version on YouTube of one of my songs that were on my mixtape, and that's stripped back. So I can pretty much play all my songs on my guitar to like a rearranged kind of rendition version. So I don't know if I necessarily actually I do write songs just on my guitar, but I might, put the song out as a studio version and then go ahead and do it unplugged. Yeah.
So we're talking about the guitar, and that obviously speaks to your origins with music in a way, because you play guitar well enough for me to understand, and know, being a musician myself, that you've been playing the guitar for a long time. But what got you into performing, though? Because that's a very big, it's a different thing from a musical appreciation standpoint to actually performing. So share with me what actually got you into standing on stages and sharing your music with people.
Yeah, so probably performing. So it started off probably in school as like a conscious sort of thing. So I was in the music program, and I started falling in love with creating music, not just playing other people's songs. And I would stay back at lunch and recess, even after school sometimes, just, teaching myself piano and jamming out. And I kind of got a little bit of a posse together to come in at lunchtime and recess and jam out. And then we'd start developing little crowds that would come in at lunchtime and sit in on our jams. And that kind of developed into a little creative crowd and process. So, and then like seeing the reactions people were getting from me, just jamming effortlessly and just being natural, kind of brought this thing out of me that was always there, but I didn't know it was there until like I had that opportunity to perform. And then from there on, because I was making music and people were liking my music, the performing just came along with it. And then it turns out it's just something that I've always loved, maybe because my mom's outrageous. She's like a speaker, personal motivational speaker sort of thing.
Oh, right, yeah,
so
gotcha.
It's kind of in, I guess, our family to be on stage.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's always been there, but there's certain events that happened that kind of made me realize that this is what I want to do. That's one of them, I guess, the school jams.
Yeah, the school jams, but that's a significant, compelling event that you've just mentioned there. That your mother is a motivational speaker, because it's clearly rubbed off onto you, the ability to perform and stand up in front of people. Because as I'm a performer as well, although I'm a guitarist and bass player, I don't do a lot of singing. It's mainly backing vocals, but it takes a certain type of something to be up there on stage for. I take it you're on stage for anywhere between sort of an hour to half an hour to an hour and a half at times, depending on the sort of show you're putting on. But to keep an audience engaged is an art unto itself, isn't it? And I guess that's my point about performing. So
Definitely.
There's a lot of musicians out there that do demos and record things at home and put it out there onto YouTube. And frankly, you see them up on stage, and it's a disengaged performance, is the most polite way of saying it. But you're not like that. You're actually up there. You've got people in the palm of your hands. So in terms of the stage production and the sort of show that you'd like to put on, what's the biggest vision of a stage production that you got for yourself right now?
Definitely a young Jaycee show, or just a Jaycee show, like a concert, so to speak. Well, we're already kind of in the midst of planning an Australian tour at the moment, which is, me and Nick came to the conclusion that we want no openers and we want no support acts. It's just going to be young Jaycee, and even if we sell 20 tickets, it's still like enough for us. So I've always, well, not always, but I have this idea that I want to. If people are coming to a show, I want coming to my show. I just want they should just see me. They don't need to see 4 openers before me or whatever. So the biggest production I have would be a young Jaycee concert in an arena, with the whole shebang, the projector, the pyrotechnics, the big stage. I can see that. I can see that happening.
I can too for you. Yeah, I can as well. And I think because of the popularity of the sort of music that you're playing, it's something that's definitely achievable. So what is the next, say, I hate asking this question because I know it puts you on the spot, okay, but what do you think the next 12 months looks like? Because I'm sure it's very exciting, but what have you got plans that are in the works, so to speak, for what the music you're going to be releasing and also some of the shows you're going to be bringing?
Yeah. So, like I said, we've got a Australia tour we're working on. It's still really early, but we're going to be coming to every major city around Australia doing shows. Mm-hmm. Definitely within the next, maybe it's starting the new year. And also, right now my music catalog's at about 12 songs. Next 12 months, I want to have at least 30 songs to my name. That includes a few more mixtapes. Mm-hmm. I've got content. I've got a lot of ideas for songs, and I want to, even just for the summertime, put out a few jams, radio bangers, to, get circulating around Australia. So a lot more music and a lot more shows mainly, and I want to build this young team, the young team up, which is essentially my kind of vision for uniting my fan base, or just a bunch of people in a positive way. So the young team is all my fans are all the young guys doing something positive with them, their lives, and I want to really build that and make that a name, so to speak.
Yeah.
So 12 months. It's a long time.
Yeah, that's a
Long
big.
time.
So if you've got, how many songs did you say you've currently got in the repertoire? Is it 12 songs? So you're building it to 30.
About 12, yeah.
So
Well, I've got 10 songs on Spotify, I think.
okay,
So I'd say 10 songs. Yeah, I definitely want to double that in the next like 8 months.
yep.
But I want to do it right, I guess. I don't want to rush it.
Yeah, agreed. That's the big one, and it's the reason why I said that I'm not a big fan of those types of questions because you've got to. There's a fine line between over planning and being able to take advantage of opportunities when they're presenting themselves to you, and that was one of the reasons I asked you about the Kendrick Lamar tour thing in Europe,
Yeah,
because things if you've got plans in the music business that are too rigid, you can't react, if you like,
exactly.
to
Yeah,
wonderful opportunities that are presented to you that will get your name and your brand and your music out there to a bigger audience. And yeah, it's always a tough one, isn't it, in the music business? It's
it's
not
really
like
unpredictable as well.
yeah, it is.
That's what I've realized. Yeah, it's really um, stuff just pops out of nowhere. Like the other day, I had "Time to Go," one of my songs that just got on a playlist yesterday, and it got 20,000 streams in one day. And I remember when I was trying to get 1,000 streams over like 3 months on it, and then out of nowhere, it just got 20,000 streams. So it goes to show you can't really plan for anything, really.
No, and who was that added it? Was that an artist of significant note?
It was just a Spotify generated playlist, like
Oh right, okay.
the Discover Weekly playlist, and it's still on there now. It's actually like doing quite well, but it just shows how something like that just takes you to the next level, like immediately, and then everything you're planning at the level before is just not quite the same anymore.
Yeah, it changes your perspective significantly, doesn't it? When you get that, when you realise that, and did you see what other artists were on the playlist? Obviously, you have. So who else was on the playlist?
Well, it's a playlist specific to the listener. So Spotify generates it for that specific listener. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I've got Apple Music. I'm not on Spotify yet. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it's like if you listen to artists similar to me, it'll come up in your Discover playlist, and then so it's every person has a slightly different sort of playlist.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great accomplishment. That's a wonderful accomplishment so early in your career.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's reassuring, like especially like hearing from people like you saying that like we're on the right sort of right path, and the music quality is actually up to scratch. Because that's the one thing being an artist is that you actually don't really like you're for me especially because I make the beats as well. It's like you're your only ears really. So it's good hearing.
Yeah, and that was something I'll talk to you about because I do focus on the beat cadence, so the flow of the beat when it comes to urban music. I do focus intently on that because being a bass guitarist, I'd like to see if I was ever given an opportunity to say work with you, what would I do? So I was listening to it, and mate, it's absolutely it's on point. I don't think that they're any faster than I could be wrong here, but 90 or 95 beats per minute. So therefore, when you're listening to it in the car, it doesn't sound as though it's not overly aggressive music. It's not easy listening either by any means, but it's music that sits right in the middle, and it's a sort of music that makes you want to wind your window down and take in the sights and the sounds. It's very chill.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. That's kind of what I go for as well, which is cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of people are agreeing with me, mate, because I'm reading these comments right now underneath the Time to Go music video on YouTube, and this is very rare for YouTube, mate, but I mean, I'm having a cursory glance here, but there's not one negative comment.
Yeah.
That's quite that's I don't think I've seen that before. So, and there's a few there. I'm saying I'm scrolling right to the end, and there's probably 20 or 30 comments there. And out of a random sample on YouTube, you'd have to suggest that maybe 30% would be negative. God, go and have a look at Kanye's music videos, for example, and see some of the hate that he gets. Yeah. But are you aware of that? Are you aware that you've got a lot of goodwill out there in the fan base for you?
Yeah, like definitely. Well, I'm aware of that. That's kind of what keeps me so positive about making music is the fact that there is this young team kind of collective gaining, and there's also, you know, I've got a very supportive family and my friends, and like the people helping me. Like that video was made by my like a good friend, good friend now from Sydney. His name's Sam Harvey, and he did it for free. And that beat was one of the beats I haven't made, and that was by another one of my friends that just kind of reached out to me, and he goes by Sunday Service. So it's just a big, like, I don't know, it's just community and reaching out. And yeah, I'm aware of all that. Definitely aware of that. That's what fuels me.
All right, mate. No worries. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to see. I really want to wish you well with this, because I think you're the type of artist, because it's all ahead of you. Given your age, I think, and you sound like as though you've got a good head on your shoulders, and Nick's providing the right kind of management for you, mate. I think it's all on the upside for you. It's just a case of which good opportunity do you take to build your profile, really?
Yeah,
because I think that they'll come.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it's just trusting the process and see how it plays out. That's one of my sayings I live by: trust the process. And I just guess that's just all I've got at this point. So I'm excited as well.
Cool. So for people who are going to be listening, we've mentioned Spotify. You've got a really good Facebook page, and of course your YouTube content's outstanding. So there's 3 pretty big heavy hitters there that people can look to you and engage with you that way. But how else can they engage with you? Have you got your own website, that sort of thing?
I've got so I'm on all streaming platforms, so even iTunes and Apple Music, and then also Facebook, Instagram. I'm probably more active on my Instagram page. I don't have a website as of yet, but yeah, Instagram and Facebook is pretty much where I post all my shows, all my like pictures and new song announcements, and then YouTube. Oh, you can just Google my name, something will come up.
Yeah, it does. You're right. I did test that, actually. I always test that with emerging artists. If I Google your name, what happens? Because sometimes individuals pick really common names and they get lost in the mix, but you haven't done that. Your stuff comes up pretty much straight away. So anybody listening, if you're not sure where to start, just Google Young Jaycee. That's Jaycee, and a raft of material will be presented.
Yep, that's it. Jaycee.
You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was a conversation between myself and Young Jaycee. Thank you so much for listening.